Hello everybody, this is Revista Ciclo and today I'm here with Courtney from Scott's Run, which is something like we always dream here in our magazine. Hi Kate, how are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
So Kate, what about those days here in Brazil? What about the track and all have you seen here?
It's been great so far. It's always exciting to come to a new place, and I think especially this year, to start somewhere new, it's always a good vibe. Everyone's really excited to be back on the circuit and also to explore a new place. So we've had a week to check out the track, check out the local area, and get excited and ready for the weekend.
Kate, you took a very nice decision that is coming to Brazil earlier for riding a smaller competition. Much smaller than a World Cup, because you were never going to Brazil for a smaller competition, but since you're doing once, you decided to do both of them. Do you like it? Was a good race?
Yeah, I think it was a great decision. For us, it's a long travel, so we like to get here early anyway, just to adjust to the time and recover from the flight. So it's not too hard to make it a few days early and get a chance to race it was a Copa Internacional, so it's a more, national level Brazilian race, but still big fields and big crowds also. And for me, a huge opportunity to see the track and not just see it in training, but race on it, which always feels quite different, and you learn a lot about it. That will hopefully leave me really prepared for the weekend.
Yeah, that decision, it looks like controversial, because some of the riders doesn't want to come to Brazil earlier because they want to get fresh for the World Cup, so they want to rest. And by the other hand, the other rider says, no, I want to see the track and learn what you're going to do in the World Cup. So what's the middle point on this?
Yeah, I don't know if it ever is rest. Most of the riders who stayed home raced close to home. So it's usually just a personal choice on what works better for your training and when you want to come down here. And also everyone's coming from a different country, so lots of different travel arrangements.
Okay, nice. When I talked to Brad, which if some of you doesn't know, it's Courtney's mechanic, and it's everything in this team. He does like the driving things and psychologist, the laundry, which it was a very nice conversation. And I just asked him about what can I talk to Kate. Mm-hmm. And one of the subjects was about mechanics. Mm-hmm. And it's like there is this theory that says a good rider is also a good mechanic. 0 to 10, how good mechanic do you think you are?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd agree. I think, there's a certain level to everything, and that's why we specialize, I think for me as an athlete, I need to be fully focused on giving my best on race day. And of course, I'm home, I have to work on my bike, I have to change my brake pads and wash my bike and change tires. But I also know that what Brad does to my bike is very different than what I do. It's a completely another level. He spends so much time on it, let's just say my bike is never cleaner than when Brad works on it. But I would never claim to be able to do that, nor would I really have the time. And I think that's part of what makes it a real partnership, and why every athlete on the circuit, probably has a mechanic here if they're gunning for top results in the elite field.
Nice. Okay, now that you said, let me tell you what Brad said to me. He says like, Kate is not very mechanic knowledge. There is not too much mechanic knowledge, but she knows exactly what's happening with the bike. If there is any small thing different with the bicycle, she can tell me, and she have the perception about it, and she doesn't get into a course or a race without telling me that I need to fix that thing. That's very, very small thing.
I think that's fair, and I think it's part of what works so well about having Brad on the circuit with me for so many years is yes, you know, one option, I could spend a lot of time trying to learn how to do everything for myself on my bike, all the little details. But really, for me, it's better to focus on the feel and the riding, which is, you know, the part that I definitely have to do well. And sometimes it's helpful to be able to just focus on that and then bring that feedback to Brad. And that's something you have to learn to do. You have to focus on, okay, how does it feel? Does it feel different? How do I test when things change on my bike? How do I test what's faster? How do I give him, you know, kind of feedback that allows us to together make the bike better for race day?
Yeah, that's awesome. But let me see. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Like in the field where you're only focused on racing, you gotta be like thinking about, let's imagine that it's raining and there's a lot of mud and you're listening to your chain doing a little bit of noise and you realize like, well, that's not the time for put a lot of power here because of this noise.
Yeah.
So this is mechanic knowledge, you know?
Exactly. It depends kind of what you mean by that. Of course, I can work a little bit on my bike. I know how it works. I'm paying attention to ride it well. But like, am I rebuilding the suspension inside my frame? No.
Okay, of course. And that's something in any of the races you would need to do during the race, right?
No.
Even if it was a long distance race.
Yeah.
By the way, can you tell me something about long distance? Does it make part of your
Yeah,
races?
I do some marathon racing. I've done the Cape Epic once before, and we used to do a bit more, but not so much in the last 2 years. I've been more focused on, just racing cross country. And this year we have 9 World Cups, so there's not a ton of extra time for racing. Yeah.
Yeah, only focused on cross country. And you're young, right? 26?
Yeah, I'm 26, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Skills like that, like mechanic things and another ones are added to cross-country races. One of them is like power, not only on the legs, but mostly arms and your backs. You need to be very powerful, mostly for the technical skills, you know. And I noticed that you're one of the most powerful girls. Like you do a lot of gym and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think at this point everyone does gym. I definitely post about it a lot, so people, you know, it's hard to get an idea of what people actually do from like Instagram. For example, like in the gym, it's so much easier to take photos because I'm with my trainer always, so he takes videos and I always post them. When I'm riding, not so much, I'm just riding. But I do definitely think that's a huge part of my training. It makes me definitely stronger in terms of putting out power, but also, just feel more comfortable and stable and in control on the bike.
Nice. It's like if we compare a road biker to a cross-country biker, he's thin. He's not that much stronger. And in a few years, the cross-country racer is more stronger than before, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And Nino Shutter, he did a few years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago, some very nice videos training. That was awesome, right?
It was great, yeah, super cool.
And he's still doing that.
Yeah, why mess with the winning program?
Yeah, it looks like it's very similar to enduro races, right?
The training?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't really know what enduro racers do.
You don't have like friends that, or teammates?
Not at a super high level.
Okay, nice. And did you see you riding discipline like that? Enduro or
Probably not. I would say, for me, I mean, skills are something I'm very focused on and I'm working on, especially, you know, as the courses have gotten a bit more technical, but I wouldn't say that it's like my best thing. I think I'm better at climbing, so I stick to races that have that in it. Yeah,
that's definitely something I would love to talk to Nino, because when we talked to you, when we realized how big is Nino career, it's like, it's not about variety, it's about focus.
Yeah.
Cross country. Nino is definitely the cross country racer, right?
I mean, if you can be the best in the world at one thing,
That's
You usually do that thing?
that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, and he certainly has proved that again and again.
Because it's like it's first time in cycling we are watching like guys doing everything, like cyclocross, mountain biking, road biking, and they're putting all together in the same season.
It's crazy, yeah.
And few years ago, if somebody tell me they're going to do that, I would say no, nobody can do everything, long distance, short distance, but they're doing. And
Yeah.
definitely you and Nino, you don't like it. You prefer to focus.
Well, yeah, I think for me, like something like Cape Epic's an example of something that's outside of necessarily like cross country. But yeah, I grew up, I started mountain biking a bit later as far as it goes when I was 15. And I also went to university. So I would race cross country in the summer and then go to university. And it was not a lot of extra time to try different things when I was young. So I think for me, you know, someday it would be great to try cyclocross, do some road racing, do other things, but I also think you have to protect your energy, and it's already a lot of travel and a long season, especially for a US rider. Like I don't drive to races, I fly to every race I go to. So it's quite different than if you live in Switzerland and you just drive over the border or drive to every race.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's not that I like wouldn't do that or don't like it. It just hasn't been part of my career so far. And I think as much as it's like so cool and I respect what other athletes do, I think you also have to be able to make your own decision about what will put you in the best position to have your best performances.
And this is like the most difficult thing about strategy, like planning the season. What are you gonna do in the season? But for you, it's very clear. World Cups, World Championship, cross country,
Yeah,
right?
that's plenty of races.
Let's
yeah.
go for it.
Lots of countries, lots of trips, and yeah, it's already, I think for me, it's going to be a long season, and so to be able to do those races and plan training around it and make sure you have time at home, time to train, and try to be really good at all of those is a huge task.
Yeah, that's nice. I really like when we talked the other day, and you said me about like how stressful it is to always traveling and flying over the ocean to Europe every year. How many times do you cross the ocean to Europe? Like
Yeah, quite a few.
15, something like that.
No, probably more like 4 or 5, but for a few
Oh,
races
yeah?
at a time. You're there for a few weeks, home for a week. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And it's like most part of the year you're out of home, and it's
A lot of it, yeah.
how does it sound? It's like amazing to meet the world and traveling a
Yeah.
lot, or it's like very stressful because you're always missing your house.
Yeah, I think probably it's a bit of both at different times, but for me, you know, I love it. I love traveling. I love the opportunity to race my bike in different places and share it with different people around the world. But it definitely, as we were talking about last week, like there's also just some chaos that happens. Like you don't always get your perfect meal that you want at the perfect time, or your luggage doesn't come on time, or, you know, there's always these types of things that happen when you're traveling. And I think with more experience and with a great team, you just learn to kind of like laugh at it and yeah, make the best of the situation and enjoy it.
A subject that I talked to you before and I really want to bring here, it's like when you get into Scott, it was like a very huge thing on mountain bike world. I remember like I used to follow World Cups and World Championships, and everybody stopped everything to say, hey, Courtney, it's on Scott.
Yeah.
And then I met Brad Copeland, because I'd never heard about him before, and Brad Copeland also, it's on Scott. And how does it sound for you? It's like pop star, it's like, do you like it?
Being on Scott, or?
No, being on Scott, I'm pretty much sure about it. I spend these days with Kate and the word fun, and this is a question I want to do about, and Brad told me about it, right? It's something that comes from you. Fun is fast, fast is fun.
It's now like a hashtag, but Yeah, I think, it's really important to have the right environment around you. And for me, being on the Scott team, I have Nino, I have Frischie, I have amazing teammates surrounding me that I can learn from, that I can watch and ask questions to. I think Nino's been an incredible resource, as well as Frischie, just to help me navigate both when it's going well and also not so well. If it's going well, handling the pressure and, being in the spotlight, and what do you do with that attention? And also when it's not going so well, how do you adjust and adapt and still kind of believe in yourself and remember what you're capable of doing? And so for me, I think that environment is really important and is a huge reason I'm super happy on the team. But also just having people that you enjoy spending time with. Brad and I have worked together for 5 years, 6 years, and he's one of my best friends. He's going to be in my wedding. He's a bridesman.
That's nice.
One of the bridesmaids. So it's great to be able to work with him as well and have a buddy who speaks English.
Awesome. That's amazing. Here in Brazil, we are facing like the first World Cup in something like 20 years. Tell me about that. Not like, I don't want to hear like, oh, it's beautiful, I love it.
Yeah.
But really, how does it sound different from the other stages? What is the difficult things? Or about the track, there is any condition that it's different, it's more difficult? I mean, how do you see this stage here?
Fingers crossed it doesn't rain too much this time, because the course does not love rain in some sections. But yeah, I think, every World Cup stop is unique. We just kind of get used to it because we go so many times. I've been to Albstadt and Nova Mesto every year for the last 10 years probably. So something new is always exciting. I would say this track is really well built. That is kind of my big takeaway. I know Enrique put a lot of work into it as well, which is great. And you can tell that a rider designed it. And rode it and gave feedback on it, because it rides really well. It doesn't just look cool for the cameras. It's something that's built to be fun to ride, to be challenging, but also, smooth if you do it right. And I would say also the fans here are quite different. There's like so much attention and hype. Yeah, I can't walk from my room in the hotel without having like people outside, which is a different level of attention than we get really at any other place.
And this is something like, it's very nice, but sometimes during your work, right? This is a very serious work. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, I think people understand. It seems like the fans here, they're like excited and a little bit aggressive sometimes, but if you say like, I can't right now, they are super respectful. And yeah, I just hope everyone knows, like, if we don't take a photo with you, it's not because we're really mean and full of ourselves. It's because, I'm on my way to the start, or I just need a minute to get ready. And even if you can't see what I'm doing, like, I'm preparing for the race. And if I'm at the course and it's before the race, like, I'm probably not going to take a photo with you, because it's an intense moment, and every kind of minute of the day is planned out so that I'm at the start line, ready to go when it's time to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. 2017, you had like a very nice season, and also 18, 19. 19, you were like World Cup general classification, right?
Yeah.
19. 2020, nobody had nothing, right?
Yeah.
It was like the
Yeah.
the shitty season for everybody. And what about 2021? It wasn't very nice season for you, right?
Yeah, the first half was okay. The first 2 World Cups, I was on the podium at the first World Cup. The second World Cup, I was like in the lead group, and then I crashed, and that was the famous brake lever. I broke my brake lever in my arm. I got a flat, and so yeah, the fitness was okay at the first half, but some bad luck, and then the second half of the season just did not go well for me. But I think this happens, and for me, it's been a really great opportunity to kind of go back to basics, like unpack my game from training to skills to technical requirements, and be ready to go for this season. So I think in the long run, it'll be something that helps me in my career. But of course, when you're on the way up, it's much more fun to be the young rider who's like, oh, now I'm winning U23. Oh, now I can win a lead. And of course, you know, in the course of a career, you can only do that one time. Once you're at the top, there's nowhere to go but down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Because that's a subject, like, I saw that a lot of amateur people want to know about it. That is recovering from a crash or from some bad thing that happens. Because when we go back to the bicycle, it doesn't look the same. And it takes a few time to feel better another time, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when you get up the bicycle after like 1 month without cycling, it's the worst feeling
It's the
in
worst,
the world.
yeah.
You feel like I'll never
Like,
ride,
how is this even
ride
fun?
ride like that before. How does it feel for you in that crash? And now there's
the crash wasn't so bad. It was just I broke my arm, so I could still train quite hard. But yeah, I think that's a part of any career. There's ups and downs, and I think you have to learn to just use failure as feedback and as a way to continue to get better. Because in the long run, you know, there's only so many things that we can control, and so you have to make sure that you control those things and do them the best that you can. And then it's a matter of showing up every time, and maybe, you know, one time everything else goes perfect too. And that's a hard part of the sport, of course. Like, we want to believe that, you know, you just show up ready to go and it always works out, but every athlete in that field wants to win. So for me, it's about just getting myself in position every time. And it won't always go well. Like, you know, even on Sunday, like, I felt really good. I was ready to go. I do not ride that well in that rain, mud, and like Yolanda is a superstar in that. So for me, you know, those aren't the conditions where everything comes together and it's my perfect day. But you have to keep showing up, and sooner or later, like, that happens to you. It's your day, and maybe it doesn't work out so well for someone else, and that's really how the sport works. And I think at its best, when we have a lot of girls that are really strong and really like right there, that's how it should work. You know, someone has a good day when you have a bad day. You have a good day when someone has a bad day. And it all kind of keeps it really competitive, and, you know, the same person doesn't win every time.
nice. And this is a very good moment to talk about it, because it's the first stage of the World Cup. Nobody knows how the guys are going, how the riders are on the, well, that thing, the top, that you say, they're on the top of the trainings, or like going up. How do you feel today?
I'm excited. I feel ready to go. I love the course, and yeah, I think for me, it's all upside this year.
But about your training plans, it's like
It's been great, yeah.
It's on the first steps of the season, or you're in a good shape for this race?
Well, yeah, I mean, the World Cups, you have to be in good shape. I think there's only 9, so, you know, of course, we get faster and take a break maybe halfway through and then build back up for Worlds, but I mean, you have to be on your game here, for sure.
Yeah, I interview some riders these days, and one of them said me like, no, I'm not in my better shape here for this stage. I'll try to do it in like July for another one. So now I'm like first steps of the season. I'm not worried about this here, and I'm planning to spend everything on July. And once I talked to another guy, very good rider, and he told me he made a mistake. Like in Cape Epic, he put all his effort of the season for Cape Epic because he wants so much that. And when Cape Epic started, he was in so good shape that his partner couldn't ride with him. So it doesn't matter if he was in better shape of the year. So it's like we said before, planning the season, it's a very...
Yeah, it's important.
Right?
Yeah, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, for me, that's more to do with my coaching and, you know, working with my coaches to make sure that we have a good plan, I'm executing it well, I'm doing what they want me to do, and also that we have a clear understanding of, yeah, when I want to peak. And of course, like, being good and peaking are very different. You can only peak for one race, maybe two of the year, where you're really like the best you can possibly be, and that no one's peaking here. Maybe Enrique.
No one?
No one will peak in. If you do, it's going to be a long season.
No, you think nobody here today is in a peak training?
No, I mean like
maybe, but
true peak, like truly like your one day of the year. If you pick April, it's pretty early, you know.
Okay.
But that doesn't. It's hard to communicate this in a way. Like you're still really good at other races. Like there's kind of an A level race, a B level race, a C level race, and they're all important. And the World Cups are all on that top level. But an athlete might pick like, I want to be great at all the World Cups. Maybe this one I train through. I want to be really good at the other ones. But like I'm peaking for Worlds, and I don't think any athletes would put their peak here necessarily. But it's certainly like part of being up there. You're definitely strong by now if you want to have a good World Cup season.
Nice, and it's very clear. You're picking for Worlds.
Maybe, I don't know.
Is there
well,
any kind
for
of...
me it's like you can have two.
Is
I
it
kind of
secret
pick
information?
2 races. No, not really.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
You gotta understand how it's gonna be in... It's July.
Yeah. Worlds are in September. So that's why it's... Or end of August. So it's a long way from now. And we also have 2 World Cups in May. So, you know, to try to kind of like stay on good form from now till May, then take a break, and then build up for the end of the season is usually more how my season goes.
It looks like the same thing Brad told me about your mechanic skills. You can listen to your bicycle and know everything that happens. You also looks like you can listen to your body, and if we are in July, you say, well, Worlds in September, yeah, we can do it.
Yeah.
We can put a peak over there, right?
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Kate, there's a lot of people telling me, calling me and say, we're going to talk to Kate, send her best regards, we love Kate. And,
thank you.
And it's amazing how people love you guys from Scott over here, so we wish a lot of good things. Have a very nice race. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really been cool to see all the love, especially, you know, for me coming off what we said was not the best season last year. It's made it so fun to come back, and definitely want to put on a good performance for everyone.
That's awesome. Very good luck for you. See you. Thank you, Kate. That's fine. And sometimes I think like all of these technologies, they are amazing for the riders, because that's the point.
Exactly.
When you figure out a new brake or new seat post droppers and stuff like that, the only objective is the riders.
Exactly. Speed and efficiency.
Okay, but nobody thinks about the mechanics.
True.
Like, screw them. Do your job.
Yeah.
I don't want to know if it will be faster or slower.